Okay, before we dive into this episode with Paul Macaulay, talking about the social media blueprint for podiatrists, which I know you're going to really enjoy, I want to remind everybody that in 2026, I will have a number of events coming up. If you go to my website, tysonfranklin.com, click on events, you'll get to see what's there. Now, there may or may not be anything there right now, depends on when you're listening to this podcast, but throughout the year, more events will be added. So go to my website, tysonfranklin.com, click on events, see what's there. If there's something in your area, I would love to see you there. Okay, now let's get on to this episode with Paul Macaulay. Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of the Podiatry Legends podcast. The podcast designed to help you feel, see, and think differently about the podiatry profession. With me today is Paul Macaulay. He's a musculoskeletal podiatrist, and he is based in Singapore, but he is from the UK. So he's been in Singapore for about 4 years now. He has a really good online following. There's about 500,000 people on different platforms, and he talks a lot about foot health education. So he works part-time in his clinic and also works part-time as a content creator on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, which is what we're going to talk about today, because I think this is a fantastic subject. So, Paul, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks a lot for having me, Tyson. Really appreciate it. I'm very excited to talk about this topic today.
I think you must have posted something on, might have been LinkedIn. And when I saw you a podiatrist, whatever comment you made, I went, okay, I need to get you on the podcast. But I didn't know you lived in Singapore at the time.
Yeah, a lot of people still reach out to me thinking that I'm based in the UK for appointments. And then I'm like, oh, it's a bit further than that.
Yeah. Do you want a home visit? It's going to cost you. Quick question though, before we get into the content, very quickly, what got you into podiatry and why you're in Singapore? What happened there?
Yeah, so got into podiatry like a number of other people, was very sporty when I was a kid, got injured a lot, ended up going to see a podiatrist and a few physios. And at the time, you really want to go into physio because it's the cool one. You see them on the football pitch, that's what you want. So initially tried to do that, didn't get the grades. And so my physio at the time suggested to be a podiatrist. I went to the open days and I thought, yeah, it does sound like a bit of me. So I ended up just taking a risk, going for it and doing it. And I absolutely loved it. I loved just making a small change and making a big difference to people's lives.
Yeah, it is like
as soon as I graduated, it was like, yeah, this is awesome. And then I went into, I suppose I went into a really good job straight out of uni, private practice, really structured, learned a lot. I was doing mainly derm at that time, which I did really enjoy. I was treating older ladies, just chit chat. Yeah, again, doing small thing and making a big difference to their lives. And then after 4 years, around COVID time, you'd been locked up, and I thought, I really got an itch to travel, and I hadn't been to Asia much. I had lived in Australia when I was younger, just for a year, and I thought, Asia will be somewhere that I'd like to go to. And I'd heard that Singapore was a really good place to live. They spoke English, which is a perk. And so I looked for a few jobs, and a few of the listeners may know that Lewis Nerney came on the podcast maybe a year or two ago, and Lewis employed me. Lewis is from Yorkshire as well, and he obviously saw that connection. And he took me in under his wing and we worked together for about a year in Singapore. It was actually a really easy transition to move to Singapore. They speak English, podiatry is no different. And I suppose a few like cultural differences between the types of patients you would see. But otherwise, it was smooth. And then my first job didn't quite work out for me, even though Lewis is a great bloke. I moved on to My Foot Doctor, which a lot of Australians will know is a big chain in Australia, but they have one practice in Singapore. And I worked there for 3 years, and on the side, just started creating content.
Okay, so now you're working for yourself, or you're still with My Foot Doctor?
Yeah, now I'm working for myself. So part of creating this big personal brand was that I started to get patients coming out and looking for me and coming to see me in clinic. So I started my clinic only 8 weeks ago, but back in June, I had my best month when I was still working for My Foot Doctor, and I got 20 new patients from social media. Yeah, I'd managed to persuade my boss to pay me an introduction fee. So at that point, I was starting to make a bit more money. So it was having this social media following was really helping to build up my potential income. And I just felt like at that point, 20 is a lot. I could have a clinic on that. So I'm going to make it happen. And 8 weeks ago, I started, and 2 days a week, which is, to be honest, is enough to pay yourself. And
that is so true.
I'm fully booked, which is great.
That is so true, because you can be an employee working somewhere, or you could work 2 days a week, but see really good patients and have a nice clinic set up and make really good money.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something about it. It's really good patience, and the reason I believe it's really good patience is because I create this content online. I
Yeah.
build that trust with people online, and the people that come and see me are all from my social media, and so they already believe what I'm saying. They already trust me. They're willing to say, "Yes, Paul, I'll do whatever you say," and I get really great outcomes from it, and I absolutely love the whole journey of that. So yeah, it's been really rewarding.
So with working in Singapore though, did you have to get a like a work visa?
Yeah, yeah. So you get these work passes,
Yeah.
and you have to move to Singapore to work. You have to have one of these visas. So they last 2 years. And initially, yeah, when I joined the company that I joined, they do all the application and stuff. They apply for it, and once it gets approved, and then yeah, swapping around companies is a bit like nervy. Will I get the work pass? So
Yeah.
always have to work. You have to wait until you get that work pass and then swap. And setting up the business was a bit more complicated because I had to set the business up initially, and then I had to have a local director, and that local director actually can just be a company that you pay. So I had a local director and I had non-local directors. My non-local directors actually my brothers
Yeah.
who were shareholders in my company. So then we've got that set up. Then they apply for the employment pass. Now I've got the pass. I then become the local director. And so as long as they keep approving my work pass, then I should still have the company as well. And my brothers
Yeah.
are now no longer directors. I've kicked them back down, shareholders for now. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
how it worked. And it was actually easier than I thought. It went well, and now the business is going, which is great.
Yeah. I've been to Singapore twice and I reckon it's a great place. It's
Yeah.
clean. Everything just runs perfectly. Everything just runs. Everything just works there. You
Yeah.
never see any drunks because alcohol is too expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. And people know that if they are drunk, the risk is that they get kicked out for something stupid. So yeah,
Yeah.
no
So
one
I
wants to
think
lose that
if you're an
opportunity.
alcoholic and you want to clean out, go to Singapore. It's a great place to. Food's fantastic, great environment, and alcohol is too expensive to pay for. So that will may help you out.
Yeah, definitely would.
So what got you onto the creating content in the first place? Was it something that you had your podiatry clinic and you went, oh, but I've always wanted to be a content creator, or did it just happen accidentally and you went, holy crap, I'm actually good at this and I enjoy it?
Yeah, yeah. So I saw an opportunity after COVID. We saw a massive rise in the amount of content creators in like personal training, in physio, in psychology, and I was seeing all these people doing it, and I felt like there's no podiatrist doing it.
Yeah.
And I came to Singapore, and to the first company, I said, "Look, we should do TikTok. A lot of people are doing it. A lot of people use it in Singapore." And the company were like, "Oh no, it's not on brand with us." The director actually wanted to control everything that we posted, so that was a no. And then I moved to my foot doctor, and my boss, he thought they had tried it, and it doesn't work. And
Have you ever
I
had to
was
deal
like,
with the My Foot Doctor marketing department? When I sold my clinic to My Foot Doctor, and when I
mm,
first sold it to them, they said, oh, can you stay on board and just help out with some of the marketing? And I went, yeah,
mm,
yeah, not a problem. I only lasted a very short period of time because the marketing department, I'm just shaking my head going, you guys have no idea. And I was just banging heads with them. And yeah, then they just said, yeah, maybe you should leave. I said, probably a good
yeah.
idea.
Yeah, so because we're in Singapore, we didn't really have a massive connection to the Australian one, so we
Yeah.
didn't really have to deal with them. But it was like just the fact that I'd been shot down telling me it wasn't going to work. And he wanted me to go out and meet doctors and network with them. And I did go out and meet some doctors, but I never got any referrals. And I was like, well, I'm still sat here with no patients. And I've seen these personal trainers and physios, they clearly getting a lot of business from what they're doing. So I decided to start posting content. So in May 2022, I started posting content really regularly. I was going daily posts on TikTok, and within a week, I had a viral video and it had 2.8 million views.
Yeah.
Later in the end of June, I had 9 videos, over 100,000 views. I'd gained 15,000 followers. I was monetized on TikTok, and I was like, yeah, I think this could work.
And what was the
And
first
yeah,
video you did that went viral? What was the one that sparked it all off?
yeah, yeah, it was actually a really simple
I
video.
bet it
Like
was.
lighting was terrible. Like even my mic was rubbish, and it was just like 3 shoes that I wouldn't wear as a podiatrist. And the three shoes were thongs, stilettos, and slip-on like flexible shoes. I actually mentioned a brand name, Skechers, at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I had a lot of the comments were people like berating me, telling me I'm wrong. Like
Yeah.
I
Well, I
know
must admit,
nothing.
I bought all three. So I do have my own personal opinion on all three of those
Yeah.
footwear.
I thought you might be, on the stilettos, definitely.
I don't know how women wear them. They're
Yeah,
terrible. Long
I
story
know.
on why I put them on. That's for a different podcast. But it's, yeah, thongs. Yeah, I do wear
Yeah,
them.
very Australian of you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, yeah. So that video really made me realize like the power of social media. At that point, my parents were still like, "Paul, be careful.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if that's okay. Check with my foot doctor that it's all right." And my boss, he throughout the whole thing, he just didn't care. He didn't care when I had no followers. He didn't care when I had loads of followers. Yeah,
I've said to a lot of younger podiatrists who are still students and or who have just recently graduated, and I've said to them, just go and create. If you have an interest in a particular area of podiatry, and even if where you're working, it might be all routine. If that's boring you senseless, then go and create your own YouTube channel, create content around what you like, start getting your own followers. And eventually, if you go from one employer to another, if you're leaving and you've got a group that are actually following you, you're a valuable employee.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. You can use it as leverage to get whatever you want. And I did. There was a period where I was know that I wanted to leave my previous job and potentially go somewhere else. And I basically got offered three great opportunities just because I had loads of followers
Yeah.
and lots of people that could come with me and that were just business right there. Basically, the companies were going to get me and business, which is just free money. So yeah, they were pretty keen, and I would definitely recommend to other people to do it because when I started posting, I didn't know anything. The topics I was posting about, often I would read an article, watch someone else's video, absorb that content, write down some notes, and then just produce that content. So I was learning as I was going.
And that's the way it should be. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If you wait, I always say, if you wait until you're perfect before you shoot your first video, you'll never shoot your first video. I go back like on my YouTube channel, I was over 800 videos on there, but this is back when I had the podiatry clinic as well. I go back to some of my earlier ones though, and the lighting is terrible. I had hair back then too. That's how long ago some of these videos were. But the lighting's terrible. The audio's no good. But as time progressed, things slowly just get better. And you test and you try something new. It's all you got to get started first.
Yeah, I encourage people if they're gonna start content and they're looking at my content, they're like, "Oh my god, Paul, you got pro set. What camera have you got?" I'm like, "Don't look at any of that. Just scroll back to my first video on TikTok
Yeah.
and watch it, and watch that, and create content like that because you don't. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm just 3 years ahead, and I create content in a particular way because I want to do that, and I understand the basics now and have more time to go a bit more advanced than that. But they don't need to worry about it. Just make it simple. I actually did a talk last week at the Lower Limb Conference, and I was talking about
That is
how to
how I came across your
connect.
name. I saw you post something that you were going to be speaking at the Lower Limb Conference.
Yeah,
And I reached out to you and you said, "Oh, you're going to be there." And I went, "No, I wasn't invited." But I said, "Oh, but I definitely need to get you on the podcast then because I wanted to talk to you
yeah,
about this." And I thought other people that weren't at the Lower Limb Conference, they probably want to know this information as well.
yeah. That talk, yeah, it was based on I was giving out like four pieces of information on how to create content really easily
Yeah.
and not overcomplicate it. And actually, it did seem like people enjoyed the talk, which is great. And I really enjoyed doing the talk because for me, I don't do a lot of public speaking, but I create a lot of content. So then I get asked to talk a lot. And often I'm saying, no, I don't want to do it. And the only reason I don't want to do it is because I'm scared. And it's because I haven't
Yeah.
put myself in that situation. So I really wanted to do this for myself,
How old are
get
you
better
now?
at 31.
Okay. When I was 32, I managed to get through primary school, high school, university without ever getting up and doing a talk in front of anybody. Then at
Mm,
32, a doctor contacted me and said, "Hey, we need someone to do this sports medicine talk." The other person felt like, "Can you do it?" And for some reason, I said yes.
mm.
Now, I'd never done any public speaking before because I was scared to death. So I went there and did it, and I turned a 45-minute talk into about 4.5 minutes. And I'm sure I had gas coming out of everywhere. It was dreadful. The doctor walked out, and I thought he was going to give me a couple of words of encouragement. And he said, that was the worst presentation I've ever seen in my life. If you're ever asked again to talk, just say no.
Oh my God.
And I went,
Brutal.
oh shit, that was bad. Yeah, but anyway, I sat down and went, if that's as bad as it can get and I didn't die, I can
Yeah.
only get better. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just I kept saying yes. And yeah, I've stood up in front of 1,000 people. And I'll admit, when I'm walking up there, I sometimes wish I had brown pants on because I'm a little nervous. But the more you do it, the better you will get. So I reckon if you love this subject and you're invited to talk about it and it's going to help podiatry and help yourself, just say yes and just do it.
Yeah.
Don't let fear get in the way. You will get better.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned so much doing like the process of just putting the talk together, just the practice and adjusting the slides. Initially, I had 6 slides talking about myself.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, I had 1 slide talking about myself. And I'm glad I did and focused on what people could get out of it. And it seems like people got a lot out of it. And I loved doing it so much. I feel so good this week because of it. And I'm looking forward to hopefully next year's topic. If Cam will have me back, hopefully I'll be sending this podcast to him to make sure that he
Yeah,
listens.
send him a copy. Maybe I'll get invited to speak next year and then I'll be there.
Yeah.
But I'm doing a talk at a dental conference this weekend coming up in Brisbane. And they said to me, oh, you haven't sent us your PowerPoint presentation. I said, I haven't got one. I said, I'm not even doing one for this one. I said, I'm just getting up there. I said, have you got a whiteboard for me? And they went, yeah. I said, we're drawing heaps of pictures and we're going to have a bit of fun. Cool. And I'm going to get everybody involved and get everybody out moving around. And they went, oh, thank God. They'll really love the idea of not death by PowerPoint. Even though I do a lot of PowerPoint presentations, which I enjoy doing. But again, let me ask you this. When you finished your talk, when it was done, you left the stage, you walked away, how much of a high were you on?
Yeah, I was on a big high. I'd had a couple of beers the night before. You know, my friend Lewis, I was with Lewis. Yeah. Lewis was recommending me to have a couple of beers to calm the nerves. And I was feeling like slightly hungover. But by the end of it, I felt like a new man. I felt so good because of it. Yeah, I was so pumped. And I'm still living off that, definitely.
Yeah. And I reckon if you're not nervous before you go up on stage, like I said, I will do a few talks a year or I'll run a workshop. I am nervous every single time. I've never got up there and gone, geez, I feel confident. I'm feeling super cool. I'm going to get up there and I'm going, don't trip over as you're getting up on stage. That's the first thing. I reckon if you don't trip over getting up on stage, you're already a winner and you can move on from there. But that's good. I'm glad you were pumped afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. It was great.
So what was the 4 things that you shared out of curiosity?
Yeah. So the first thing that I shared is like how to set up your profile to be found. So this is mainly on Instagram. A lot of people just like, Instagram's like very searchable now, especially it's linked up to Google. So you want to be able to be found. So it's just talking about like how to do that and then how your profile picture matters, like what's in your bio matters. So people click on your profile and instantly they're going to make a decision whether you're worth following. If they look at your profile and it looks like a jumble cell, they won't follow you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my number 1. Number 2 was how to find ideas to post about. So I reckon everyone walked away with 20 ideas of what they could post about for the next month. So I was talking about like FAQ section of your website. You can get quite a lot of good nuggets from that. And then most commonly asked questions in clinic. And then you can also ask your audience for ideas and then post about that. And I was showing them.
Can I throw an idea in? If people are looking for ideas, is tell your receptionist every time the phone rings, whatever the question is that when you answer the phone, whatever the questions they asked, write it down on a piece of paper, A4 sheet of paper. At the end of the week, take that piece of paper and you will probably have 20 video ideas right there and then. And you'll probably find the same questions are being asked. So if those questions are being asked, more than likely, they're probably searching for that information as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then the final part was like how to search for ideas as well. So I shared my phone and showed people how I do it so that they can do it too. Then we talked about hooks. So what are hooks and like how we can utilize them in podiatry. And the fact that the hook doesn't really matter what the hook is in comparison to the video. The contents of the video is important, but you need to get people to actually stay on to watch the rest of the video. So we had a weird discussion about that. And then finally was faceless filming. So talking about how you don't have to put your face on camera to actually film good content and get followers and get your point across. So I showed some examples of that and how to best record good audio for that. So yeah, I think it
Yeah.
went pretty well.
I think the audio is very important because
Mm.
I love my audio,
Yeah.
but I like the idea too. I did a video ages ago about, might have been about knee pain or something, but I wasn't talking about knee pain. I was just doing an example where you could talk about knee pain, but not even be in the video, just using images and photos and blending them all in and just talking over the top, just
Yeah.
in your normal
Yeah.
tone. And I actually, sometimes I enjoy those videos more than seeing someone with the head bobbing around all over
Yeah.
the place.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. So that was also on point. Visuals are important too.
Did you talk about timing in each of those platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube?
Not particularly, unless someone asked a question about it. But we were just really talking about Instagram in mainly because Instagram's the one which you're going to get the most business from. I did
Okay.
TikTok for a long time, and I didn't find that it got me. A lot of people know me and know about me and follow me, but they didn't necessarily come into clinic to see me. And then once I swapped to posting more on Instagram, everyone started to come see me in clinic. And then now YouTube is purely, I suppose, like it's just to take my content everywhere and hit a really different type of person. So, which I do notice, like on Instagram, I have a lot of lady followers, like middle-aged ladies, like 75%.
Yeah.
And then on YouTube, it's men, 75% men, similar age category. But yeah, they obviously like different types of content.
Yeah. I know going back about, probably about 12 years ago, I met a podiatrist and he said something like 4 or 6% of his new patients came from Pinterest at the time.
Mm.
And he didn't want to have anything to do with it, but it was one of his female staff members said, I'm on Pinterest all the time. So they just started setting up some shoe profiles, and all of a sudden he's going, wait, and that was his first introduction to social media. And that made him
Yeah.
start looking at other things. But on episode 391, I had Ted Nelson, who's a lawyer, super lawyer in
Mm.
Texas. And he actually said on there, he said, any business owner that does not have a social media platform is just leaving money on the table. He goes, yeah, competition are going to do it. So you need to learn how to do it. And he's the same age as me. He's 59 or 60. And he just said he loves doing them. He said, the more he does it, the better he gets at it.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely true. If people aren't doing socials, like they're failing, really. I, I just see it's where most people are spending most of their time, and people are using it as a search engine. In Singapore, we're all about spending time in the cool places. We want aesthetic places to hang out at, and so searching to see what that place is an
Yeah.
important decision maker for us. And so I encourage people, yeah, to make sure that if they've got a nice clinic, have that all whacked all over your socials so people can see, and then they'll come and see you because of it.
So, okay, question for you. We'll talk Instagram since that was the main thing you discussed at the LLM conference. When you're posting information up there, how much of it is always podiatry or foot health education? Do you ever post something in between that might just be, hey, this is a beautiful area in Singapore that you visited? Do you mix it up with a little bit about who Paul Macaulay is and not just the information?
Yeah. Well, I post a lot of healthcare content. I do post story content to do with my life, like I play a bit of tennis and cricket and maybe a bit of travel, but not too much.
Yeah.
I post my engagement photos on there, so that was quite a big thing for me. I think like my audience grew like massively over a very short amount of time, where I went from 60K followers to 200K, and that made me, I suppose, a bit scared to post too much about my life,
Yeah.
because I didn't. It's suddenly loads of people all over the world knowing about me, and so I was a bit hesitant. And then now, in the most recent sort of 8 weeks when I've built my business, I've decided to try to get people to know me a bit better. But I think through my posts a lot more than I used to, where I just used to whack it up and wouldn't care.
Yeah,
Um,
I think you need to bring out some of your personality, who you are, things you do, so they can see you as the practitioner, but also, oh, he's actually a real person as well.
yeah,
Just don't take a photo of yourself out the front of your house. Just don't give them your
yeah,
address. I think that's the main thing.
yeah,
Because I
yeah,
always
yeah.
say to people, if you're worried about social media, I go, don't worry. If someone really wants to harm you, they will just follow you home one day. It's a terrible thought.
Hopefully not in Singapore.
No, but
Uh,
it's one of those things that if you get a stalker, it means you made it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's terrible, isn't
That is classic.
it?
Classic.
But I do
I reckon that's
understand.
classic Aussie joke.
But I do understand. I reckon people who've got children, I totally get that they don't necessarily want their children to be on social media or be seen. Whereas I know other people, they think kids are a great marketing tool as well because they can be interactive and people can say, oh, you have children, I have children. Therefore,
Yeah.
you're like me.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. Like, I've got a friend who wants to start on socials a bit, and I was talking to him about the profile and not looking like a jumble sale.
Yeah.
And he has every other post is like him playing tennis or like training for high rocks. But then that's too much for me. If someone goes into your profile and can't tell if you're posting podiatry content or like lifestyle and they're looking for podiatry content, then it needs to be a bit cleaner than that.
Yeah,
But I
true.
do think like stories are a really good way to build that connection where you can literally just talk directly to that person in a more casual way. And so I do some posts on that. And it is something I want to do more of, but it's just actually, if you're trying to remember to do it regularly as well, it's tough with everything going on.
Yeah. Yeah. My YouTube channel, not YouTube, my Instagram channel, it's a mismatch of everything. I'll put some
Mm.
podiatry business stuff there. I'll put something to do with my holiday. I always post my burger photos. Everyone knows I love hamburgers,
Nice.
but I'm not using it to try and build my profile. It's just, it was there.
Yeah. Yeah. So someone told me that if I post a lot of different things, then the algorithm might not understand what I'm posting about.
Yeah.
And because I was posting some podcast content over a period, and I was wondering why my Instagram wasn't growing. And once I stopped posting the podcast stuff and started focusing on just like foot health, it grew a lot more. And since that point, I think he had a decent point about that.
Do you ever go back and delete any content you posted if you think back and go, oh, you go through stuff from 6 months, a year ago and go, that didn't really resonate? You get rid of it or you just leave it there and don't worry about it?
I leave most there. I don't think I post much which I don't agree with. Although after going to the lower limb conference, I've learned some new stuff, and I think, oh, maybe that video's a bit off.
Yeah.
But also the videos I know have helped people as well, even if it's even if the research maybe isn't up to date, it still helped them. So I kind of think, oh, should it still be there?
Yeah. But research is still just research. It's not real.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I,
I was listening to, do you ever listen to the Huberman podcast,
yeah,
Huberman Lab? And he was, there's a guy on there and they were talking about research that they're doing. And they go, there's a difference between research results and reality.
yeah,
And the guy was just saying, we can have the best conditions in a lab and be doing all these different things under perfect conditions. And we can tweak things because sometimes this is how we really want the result to go, even though we don't mean to, we're a little bit biased. He said, but then when you take that and you practically go and use it in the real world, it doesn't apply. You have to do something different.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think it's important for everyone to understand that.
I agree too. Yeah, and like people's lives are very different to the research lab.
That's why I always don't find it funny when a podiatrist will make a comment on social media. They go, well, the research says, okay, who cares what the research says? Does it work?
Yeah,
Have you tried it? Does it work? If it works, then just tell us what you did in your clinic. I'd rather know that.
yeah, exactly. I think like there are a lot of healthcare practitioners and podiatrists who might look at my content and go, "Oh, that's not right." I mean, I did have a recent thing where I got called out being a healthcare sellout, supposedly,
Yeah.
and I reflected at the content that I created, and it was the five most common shoes I recommend to my patients, and they are the five shoes that I recommend the most to my patients, and I recommend them for certain conditions, and it works. And I was like, well, I'm a healthcare sellout. Is he telling me that I'm bad at my job, but it works? Like I don't. So yeah, it's
Yeah. But some people online, if they were directly in front of you, face to face, they probably wouldn't say anything. Like
yeah,
I know when I wrote the world's greatest podiatry business book, it's no secret there's money in podiatry. Man, I got comments from people just telling me this is the biggest load of crap ever written. And I just went, it's your opinion.
yeah.
Because I had hundreds of other comments telling me that it was absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to take that on board, not the one or two
Yeah,
people who usually have an agenda and there's a reason why they don't like something.
yeah. I mean, you're definitely right that I think posting publicly on a comment, I just think is if you disagree with me and you're a healthcare professional, talk to me about it. Talk
Yeah.
to me in the DMs. Hit me in the DMs. You tell me what you think. then we have a discussion about it and we discuss what it's about, because content at the end of the day, if it's only 60 to 90 seconds long, you cannot get a whole thesis into that section.
No.
And the fact is that video, or all these videos, will have a good impact on a lot of people who may not have access to healthcare. And that's all I'm trying to achieve, is like that these people who potentially do not have access get some access, and they get that bit better, like doing a small thing and making a big difference to their lives. That's my like ultimate goal.
No, I think it's brilliant though. I just think what you're doing is great. It's like when you said before, the 3 things you don't wear: thongs, I wear them; stilettos, no anymore. But the sketches, I had a conversation with someone last week, one of my coaching clients. We were talking about sketches. She doesn't like them.
Yeah.
And I said, well, this is going to sound really funny. So I just got back from America. I bought a pair of sketches for the plane. I said they would just slip on ones. I said, they were the most comfortable airplane shoe I've ever worn in my life. I said, I just wore them around for a few days and wore them back home again. Are they the shoe that I would recommend that my patients wear? If you're getting on an airplane, yes.
Yeah.
If you're going to jog in them, no.
That's an interesting topic about getting on an airplane, because that's what makes me laugh. Is like, a lot of my patients will tell me they'll just get the slip-on ones to go on the airplane. But then they go to Singapore airport and they got to walk like 5Ks to get to the gate.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of my videos is basically based on that topic. So I completely get like, and everyone's got slightly different opinion on.
I know, and I will admit, when I got to LA airport, because they'd moved the Qantas terminal somewhere else, from where I landed coming in from Seattle, it was a 2-kilometer walk to get to my gate. Yeah, they were not great for a 2-kilometer walk that you had to do in a very quick period of time. But just for the purpose of wearing them, just short walk, plane, short walk out again, in the hotel, they were great. But I wouldn't do much else in them.
Yeah. I think, so overall, the content which I'm creating, I'm just trying to serve like a sort of general population and making those small impacts that go a long way for them. Yeah. And I am hitting like people in these different areas. I'm hitting people in Africa who probably don't have a podiatrist. I'm hitting people, and a lot of people in Turkey. So they watch my content, people in Mexico, and they may not have a local podiatrist that they can go to, but they see this like sort of generalized content, and maybe it makes a bit of a difference to their lives and helps them to continue on with their like day to day, which is important to me.
Yeah, but like I said, I think it's important, but I also think the people who, might be a little bit negative towards what you do or make a comment, I always think shame on them, because they're trolls, normally sit behind the keyboard, super tough. But sometimes their comments is what prevents other podiatrists from getting in front of a camera, because they're scared what people will think. And I'm going, just do it. Don't worry about, if you get 1 or 2 negative comments, you're probably helping 100 other people.
Yeah, I get thousands of comments.
Yeah.
And I don't always have a chance to read them all, but so many people telling me that it changed their life.
That's what you want.
It's so good to feel that.
So what are all your handles for the different platforms? So if people want to reach out to you, if they want your email address, or if they want to find your platforms, what are they?
Yeah, so for my platforms, it's all under the same handle, Paul the Podiatrist. Very simple. And if they want to drop me an email to see maybe how I've done it, maybe any top tips, then it'd be paul@paulthepodiatrist.com.
Okay, that's nice and simple. Paul the Podiatrist. How can you forget that?
Yeah, exactly. It's very lucky to have that name.
So, like, I think what you're doing is great. I think it's going to help the podiatry profession. If more people get involved and start doing this, it's going to help the general public as well. Have you got anything else you want to mention before we wrap up?
Yeah, I would go back to your point about other people being put off by people talking negatively. I do think it's quite a small point. It's happened to me like twice in 3 years.
Yeah.
But when people are just giving you so much, they are talking so positively about the advice they've had, and then you see the benefit it has to your business. It's so amazing that you can just build a business off creating content and a really engaged following too. So I just recommend that everyone should do it. And the more people that do it, the better it is for our profession as podiatrists.
Yeah. And I think if you're not getting any negative comments, then you're probably not working hard enough. Like I said, I haven't had a lot. A couple when I did the book, probably half a dozen since I've been doing the podcast, which is coming close to 400 episodes. And they're out there. But I remember someone saying once that nobody has ever built a statue for a critic. So of all the critics in the world, no one's ever built a statue going, they were the world's best critic.
Yeah.
And usually people that are critical to, say, you or myself or anybody else, they're not usually doing too much themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why they
Exactly.
sit back and comment, because they're probably just too scared to do it.
Yeah, I'd say that no point. I was scared. I was scared to like post. I was scared to do my talk, but
Were you
if
scared to post because you were concerned what people were going to say?
No, I wasn't. I was just, I suppose, scared to fail.
Okay.
Like with most things, but then once you start doing it and you see the success that you can have, then you just continue. And now I just, yeah, just crack on, don't look back, and hopefully I can become, pretty big and do a good thing for the podiatry world.
No, I think it's fantastic. So, Paul, the podiatrist, I want to thank you for coming on the Podiatry Legends podcast, sharing your wisdom in this area, because I think it's an area that everybody needs to jump on board with. And I'd love to get you back on again, like say in 12 months' time, get you back on and just go, okay, what have you done between now, just finishing the Lowell M conference, to probably after you do the next one? And maybe we might even do it live while we're down there. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be awesome.
Turn it into a video as well. Okay,
yeah,
Paul.
sure.
So
thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me. Have a good day.
I hope you enjoyed this episode with Paul Macaulay, or otherwise known as Paul the Podiatrist. And if this conversation got you thinking about stepping up your own content game, now is the perfect time to start. You don't need perfect lighting, perfect wording, or perfect confidence. You just need to take that first step. Paul said that's what he did, and I did exactly the same thing. It all starts by taking that first step. And remember, content builds trust. It strengthens your brand and helps elevate the entire podiatry profession. The more of us that do it, the better it's going to be for everyone. And if you're ready to grow your practice, or you'd like some guidance and some direction, please reach out to me. Go to my website, tysonfranklin.com. Just click on the coaching section, and from there you can organise to have a quick 30-minute chat with me and just see if there's some area of your business that I can help you with. Okay, that's it for me this week. I want you to look after yourself, look after your family. I will talk to you again next week. Bye for now. Okay, if you're still here, it means you are waiting for this week's Easter egg. And what I want to talk about is just a quote that I saw recently, and it said, if you discount, it means your first price is not real. Now, why does this matter for a podiatry practice? The thing is, healthcare isn't retail. Patients want certainty, professionalism, and they want trust. Discounting does the opposite. It creates a couple of things. One, there's questions about quality, doubt about your expertise. That could create confusion about what things actually cost, and suspicion about your intentions. And it also trains patients to wait for that next special, which can destroy long-term revenue and trust. At the moment, we've just gone through a whole pile of Black Friday sales, and there's been a lot of things leading up to that people may have purchased, and when all of a sudden they see it on special, what does it tell them? I shouldn't have bought. Maybe next year I should just wait until the specials come around. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to elaborate on this in a lot more detail in next week's newsletter. If you're not getting the newsletter, please just send me an email, tf@tysonfranklin.com. I'll add you to the newsletter list. And if you do get my newsletter and you don't like it, please unsubscribe. Okay, hope you get something from that, and I'll talk to you again next week. Bye.